Chapter 34. The Day. That night I was very weary from our long voyage. Huon, Elchi, Zarpin, and I stayed at Laius's humble residence. Although I was beyond tired, I insisted that Atlaus lead me to the place where the records would be buried. He thought I was crazy, because it was dark out, but the moon, being almost full, lit our way nicely. There was a small opening in the rear of the Sphinx, which I would enter the next day. Atlaus wouldn't let me go into it that night since it was filled with mazes, and only those who worked on the project knew the route there. He could, however, estimate the spot where the temple lay over 600 feet below the surface. He showed me the spot, and the two of us sat down there in the moonlight. After a few minutes of quiet, Atlaus said, "Tomorrow is the end of your mission. How do you feel?" "I'm tired." He laughed. Then I said, "I'm glad that I made it, and I can only hope that the spirits of Miram, Oron, and Etuitude are here to share the special moment tomorrow. I'm sure they will be." As tired as I was, I enjoyed sitting there beneath the moon with the most magnificent creations in the world around me. "Come," Atlaus said. "You should get some sleep. Tomorrow is a big day." "Yes, I know." When I returned to the house, Elchi was waiting for me. He sat on his bed looking upset. "Where have you been?" He was like a mother worried over his child. "I went to the spot where the records will be buried." He was disappointed. "Why didn't you take me?" "I'm sorry. I should have asked you. I could tell that I made a grave error in not asking him to join me. Do you forgive me?" After a moment of brooding, he got up and gave me a big hug. "Of course." As I prepared to retire, I thought of our future, but mostly of his. As I sat down, I turned and looked at this young man who I had once carried as a baby in my arms those many years ago. "What do you want to do after tomorrow, Elchi? You are a grown man now. You must decide what to do with your life." He thought for a moment. "I have enjoyed our trip very much." "I have seen this. Would you like to be a seafarer like Zarpin?" I could see a troubled look on his face. "Well, I do, but what about you?" He couldn't look at me. "What about me?" He made me feel like an old man who needed someone to take care of him. "I can't leave you alone, not after what's happened." I understood his concern. It was not because I was an old man, but because of Oren not being there for me now. He didn't want me to be alone. "Don't worry about me. I will be fine. You must do what you feel. If you love it, and I suspect you do, you must do it. I'm sure Zarpin would love to have you." "I love you, Esser." He blew out the candle, then sat between our beds. "Thank you for everything you have ever done for me. I wouldn't be a part of this great occasion if it weren't for you and Oron. I shall never forget it." "Nor shall I. Now we must get some sleep." I was happy that Elchi had found something that he loved, as I had found the records in my life. There was no sleep for me that night. As I stared into the darkness, my mind was playing all the scenes of the past years of work on the records. It had taken a lot to get me there, including the lives of 3 friends who were the closest and dearest to me ever. I thought about Miram and imagined her working with these powerful people, Rata and Hermes. She was there. I could feel her. Oh, if only they were here to complete the task we had all started. The next morning, Elchi rushed into our room with a beautiful garment made of brocade and bedecked with jewels. "This is for you to wear today. I have one too, not as magnificent, but very elegant." He showed me his robe. I could only stare at the regal robe meant for me. "Such an illustrious occasion must be decorated with magnificence," Elchi said. After the readings of Elchi, I tried it on. Or the pleadings of Elchi, I tried it on. The toga was a simple design with a belt of the same brocade and jewels as the hooded cape. I had never in my life worn anything of this quality. I felt blessed that I should be given such a wonderful garment to wear. Even Elchi's robe was quite elegant. After trying the garment on, I sat on my bed and stared at the box that had been so close to me for so long. And now it belonged to those who should come many thousands of years after. I prayed that our hopes and aspirations for these documents were fulfilled. The day had been planned for great celebration. There would be a feast, and the day would be filled with prayer and meditation. We spent most of the day with Ratan ceremony at one of the temples. The sun was starting to fall in the sky, and the area became filled with people celebrating the occasion. Everyone wore flowers in their finest clothes. Torches were lit for the ceremony. Elchi and I stood with Rata and Hermes at a podium before the entrance to the temple, to the tunnel that led to the burial place. Only Rata spoke, again blessing the gold box that sat before him on the podium. When the blessing was done, horns and drums commenced, announcing the beginning of the burial. Rata and Hermes led Elchi and I down the opening at the rear of the Sphinx. I clutched the box tightly as I walked through the maze. Both Rata and Hermes held a torch to light our way, and we proceeded downward and through the tunnels. Had they not been with us, there would have been no way for us to find our way in or out of these tunnels. There were tunnels to the left and right in every turn. It was done this way to protect it in years to come. This would be sacred ground, and only those who were of the One would be able to find it in the future to assume its proper use and safety. The air was stale and seemed to get thicker as we went downward. Finally, we came to a great door. At it stood two men, metal workers, who would seal it after our departure. We entered the great temple. It was breathtaking. Here before us lay a representation of our culture, artifacts, books, fabrics, jewelry, etc. The pyramid was filled with pieces of ATLATIA. In the center of the room was another pyramidal structure. It was only a few feet in diameter and made of gold. Its top had a latch, which was easily opened. Rata opened it. It is here that they shall lie. I motioned for Elchi, and he took the other end of the box, and we lowered it into the pyramid. At that moment, Rata said a prayer of protection for it. As it slipped slowly from my fingers, I felt as if I had just placed my life as well into this opening. For a moment, time stood still for me. A great beam of golden light seemed to spotlight me and the records. I saw Miram, Oron, and Ituitud, all standing there smiling. I became filled with the most wonderful feeling I have ever experienced. It enveloped my entire being. From that moment on, I was not of this world. The lid was closed on the box, and we left the chamber. Immediately, the metal workers went to work sealing the door to the temple. Rata and Hermes led us through the tunnels and out into the air. The sun was only giving minimal amount of light now. The drums banged as the ceiling was completed. I turned to Elchi and said, "It's over, my son. My mission is done." The feeling was increasing now, and as I walked away from the Sphinx, I saw my friends waiting for me at the top of the hill. I dropped the cape from my back and walked towards them. Miram's arms were extended for me. I was happy. I had longed for this moment. I waved at Elchi for one final time and joined my friends.